About 40% of Canadians take CPP as soon as they can, at age 60. And I understand the instinct. You've been paying into it your whole career. It feels like your money. It is your money. Why leave it sitting there? Here's why. That single decision, taking CPP at 60 instead of waiting, could cost the average Canadian over $100,000 in lifetime income. Not a rounding error, not theoretical. A six-figure gap based on a number you can look up today. Today we're running the full math. Age 60 versus 65 versus 70. The break-even ages, the exact point at which waiting starts winning. Who should take it early and why? And one move almost nobody makes that could be the most financially significant thing you do in your 60s. I'm Nick. This is Boring Money Canada, not financial advice, just math. First, how CPP timing actually works. The standard age is 65. Whatever you've earned through your contributions, that's your baseline pension. But you have a window. You can start as early as 60 or wait as long as 70, and the difference between those two choices is enormous. Take it early, and your payment shrinks permanently. For every month before 65 that you start collecting, your pension is reduced by 0.6%. That's 7.2% for every year early. Start at 60, 5 full years before the standard age, and the reduction is 36%. You lose 36% of your pension forever. Wait past 65, and your payment grows permanently. For every month after 65 you hold off, your pension increases by 0.7%. That's 8.4% per year. Hold off until 70, 5 years past the standard age, and your pension is 42% higher, for the rest of your life. Now let's put dollars on it. The average new CPP retirement pension at age 65 in Canada in 2026 is $925 a month. Not the maximum, the average. Most Canadians don't qualify for the maximum because of lower income years, time off work, or starting their career late. $925 is the realistic number. Applied to the three ages. At 60, $592 a month. At 65, $925 a month. At 70, $1,314 a month. Same contribution record, 3 very different pensions. The only variable is when you apply. Now let's look at what those numbers mean over a lifetime. Start at 60, live to 85. That's 300 months of payments. 592 times 300 equals $177,600 in total CPP income over your lifetime. Start at 65, live to 85. That's 240 months. 925 times 240 equals $222,000 in total CPP income. Start at 70, live to 85. That's 180 months. 1,314 times 180 equals $236,520 in total CPP income. Waiting to 65 instead of taking it at 60 puts $44,400 more in your pocket by age 85. Waiting to 70 instead of 60 puts nearly $59,000 more in your pocket, and those numbers assume you only live to 85. Push the projection to age 90, which is a realistic scenario for a healthy Canadian entering retirement today. At 60, total CPP income to 90, $213,120. At 70, total CPP income to 90, $315,360. The difference, $102,240. That is the cost of the decision most Canadians make without doing the math. Now let's talk about the break-even age. This is the number that actually drives the decision. Compare taking CPP at 60 versus 65. Between ages 60 and 65, you'd collect 592 times 60 months, about $35,000 before 65. But once you hit 65, someone who waited is now getting $333 more every month. How long until the early start is no longer ahead? 35,000 divided by 333 per month is about 106 months. That's just under 9 years past 65. The break-even, age 74. Now compare 65 versus 70. If you took it at 65, you collected 925 times 60 months, about $55,500, before turning 70. The person who waited to 70 is now getting $389 more every month. 55,500 divided by 389 equals about 142 months. The break-even, age 82. The average healthy Canadian turning 65 today, according to Statistics Canada, can expect to live to approximately age 84 or 85. That puts the average person past both break-even points. The math says, for the average healthy Canadian, waiting wins. But the math doesn't cover every situation. Let's look at when taking it early is actually the right call. Poor health. If you have a chronic illness, a serious diagnosis, or family history that points to a shorter life expectancy, taking CPP early is rational. If you genuinely don't expect to live past your mid-70s, you'll collect more total by starting at 60. This is a completely legitimate reason, and it's yours to weigh honestly. You need the income. If you've stopped working early, have no other income, and CPP is the bridge between your savings running out and OAS starting, take it. Personal finance optimization shouldn't mean putting your basic financial security at risk. The invested argument. Some people say, I'll take CPP at 60 and invest every dollar. On paper, this works. Invest $5.92 a month from 60 to 65 at a 5% return, and you'd have roughly $40,000 by 65. That's real, but it requires actually doing it, every month without touching it, with consistent returns. Most people don't follow through, and even if they do, the break-even still lands in the late 70s, which is when you'll probably be alive and needing the income. Here's a scenario a lot of Canadians miss. You're 65 and still working. If you're still employed and earning income, you do not need CPP right now. Every month you delay past 65 locks and another 0.7% permanently. Work until 68 before you retire, then take CPP. That's a 25.2% increase over your 65 baseline, for life. And you were going to work those years anyway. It is one of the quietest, most overlooked financial wins for any working Canadian over 65. Just don't apply. Come back to it when you actually stop working. Here's the deepest reason to wait if you can. CPP is longevity insurance. It pays for as long as you live, indexed to inflation. It cannot run out. If your biggest financial fear is outliving your savings, and for good reason because people routinely live longer than they expect, then a higher CPP payment is one of the most reliable hedges you have. The inflation indexing adds up. Every year, CPP increases with the consumer price index. When inflation runs at 3 or 4%, a pension that tracks it is worth substantially more over time than it looks on day one. A $1,314 monthly payment grows faster in dollar terms than a $592 payment. The gap between the two choices widens every year you're alive. Now here's the move almost nobody makes, and it might be the most financially significant retirement decision available to most Canadians. OAS, Old Age Security, starts at 65 by default. The maximum in 2026 is $728 a month. But you can defer OAS2 up to age 70 at 0.6% per month of delay, a maximum 36% increase. Delay to 70 and your OAS becomes approximately $990 a month. Delay both CPP and OAS to age 70. Your combined guaranteed monthly income, $1,314 in CPP plus $990 in OAS. That is $2,304 a month, inflation indexed. Guaranteed for life. No sequence of returns risk, no market exposure, just a rising income floor that keeps pace with the cost of living. For most Canadians, building that higher guaranteed income floor before drawing from your investment portfolio is one of the simplest and most durable retirement strategies available. More longevity protection, lower market risk in early retirement, and better tax efficiency in the years before the pensions start. One note on OAS. There is a clawback. In 2026, if your net income exceeds about $93,000, your OAS starts being reduced. If your retirement income is that high, OAS timing matters less. For the majority of Canadians, you keep every dollar. The practical question: how do you bridge the gap between stopping work and taking CPP and OAS at 70? RRSP withdrawals, TFSA withdrawals, rental income, part-time work, a spouse who's still earning. The more flexibility you have, the longer you can afford to wait. The longer you wait, the more you collect. There's a tax efficiency angle here too. If you retire at 60 with relatively low income, no CPP, no OAS yet, your marginal tax rate is lower than it will be in retirement when both stack on top. Drawing down your RRSP in those low-income years, before CPP and OAS arrive, can reduce your total lifetime tax bill. The bridge isn't just a funding strategy, it's a tax strategy. Here's the decision framework. Step 1. Get your actual number. Log into My Service Canada account. It is free, it takes 5 minutes, and it shows your real projected CPP at 60, 65, and 70 based on your contribution history. Not an estimate, your number. That is what you work with. Step 2. Run your break-even. Take the monthly difference between starting at 65 and your target start age. Divide the early amount you'd collect by that monthly difference. The result is the number of months until waiting wins. Add that to your target start date. That's your break-even age. If your realistic life expectancy clears it, waiting wins. Step 3. The bridge question. Can you cover basic expenses without CPP until 65? Until 70? If yes, delay. If you genuinely cannot get there without CPP income, then 60 or somewhere between may be right for your situation. Know the cost before you decide. One more thing. If you are still working past 65 and haven't applied, every extra month of delay is 8.4% per year, guaranteed, permanent. There is no investment available to you right now that gives you 8.4% guaranteed. Your CPP account is offering it automatically just by waiting. Here's the summary. For a healthy Canadian, waiting past 60 almost always wins. Break-even for 60 versus 65 is around age 74. Break-even for 65 versus 70 is around age 82. Average life expectancy at 65 is approximately 84 or 85. The math puts the average person past both lines. If you can bridge to 70, the lifetime advantage compared to starting at 60 is over $100,000. Your monthly income is 42% higher, guaranteed, indexed, and paid for the rest of your life. The boring answer is to wait as long as you can afford to. As usual in personal finance, the patient choice beats the impatient one. If this was useful, subscribe. One of these every week. Next time, we're going into another retirement income decision most Canadians get backwards, and the math is just as surprising. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just math.